Well, I want to turn to the Centers for Disease Control. It's not the biggest bureaucracy in the government-run health industry, but it is very important, as we found out in the pandemic. President Trump just named Susan Monarez as his nominee for the CDC. Not everybody's crazy about her. Some say that she's been too much of an apologist for the government's mistakes that were made during the pandemic. But President Trump said on Truth Social that she, quote, brings decades of experience championing innovation, transparency, and strong public health systems. As an incredible mother and dedicated public servant, Dr. Monarez understands the importance of protecting our children, our communities, and our future. And RFK Jr. himself, the head of HHS, says about her, well, he gave her a shout out on X, proud of his pick. So what do you think of this woman?
I've had a chance to interact with her, David, and I agree with Trump and RFK. She's quiet, she's reserved, she seems to be a very effective administrator. She's a basic scientist, well respected by the agency. I think it's a good move.
All right, but as you know, she has been very forgiving of some of the things the government did during the pandemic, some of which turned out to be dead wrong. Does that concern you, that if, God forbid, we face something else, she might go back to that mode?
No, I think she's going to follow direction. This is very important. She's going to be a lot different than Rochelle Lewinsky and Mandy Cohen. I think she's going to be a team player. Remember, HHS is a very complicated agency with oversight and direction over the CDC. So I think it's a good move.
Well, the main problem is getting the respect of Americans back for what they did, and so much of, again, it's I think the budget is $9 billion a year in the grand scheme of things. That's not a lot inside the Beltway, but the power of that organization is enormous if it is backed up by government edicts, which is what we saw began in the Trump administration, but really in a very, very hard way during the Biden administration. How does she turn that mistrust that Americans now have for it around?
I think if she leads the agency with a strong effort on biopharmaceutical safety, outbreak analysis, data transparency, bring the CDC back to where it was, 10 or 15 years ago, where doctors like myself relied upon and trusted the CDC, it'll be great for America. I think she can do it.
Dr. Peter McCullough, always a pleasure, doctor. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.